Here we are again in our weekly meeting for named all delegates, but of course open for any member to observe and sit in and listen in and at least comment in the chat if they so wish. Mainly the discussions are intended for the delegates, and that means also former delegates. So they have a privilege of speaking, so to say. But if we are not too many crowding in here, we're pretty relaxed on that rule as well. So today we have Thursday, Thursday the 25th of May, 2023. And this is, of course, mainly informative sessions and a chance to put some questions forward. Most of the information, and I remind everyone on that, who also see recordings, most of the information is in our Eden Community Telegram group, in the respective working group, particularly. I think we have 4 of them now, and it will increase with 1 or 2 more in the coming week or two, and we'll come to that later on. So here is just a brief information what's been going on and happening from the last meeting a week back. So draft again agenda, you've seen that, and I probably will share my screen for a starter and just run through it very quickly. Number 1, approval of agenda. Number 2, working group progress. A, the strategy workshop, which is having 3rd session coming up. B, bylaws on dispute resolution primarily, this next meeting. C, comms media, where we have appointed a lead. And D, tech dev working group, that is on the way to be set up with the first meeting, possibly Monday, but we're going to have we'll talk more on that. Number 3, item 3 on the agenda proposed is to inform what the current CDs have more or less decided for now will be and act as remuneration on in the different working groups as per earlier discussions and documents shown and similar. Number 4 is just a short word on RFP, the EdenOnEOS distribution summary, which is working underway since a week or more back. And then a bit of an update on the Lucas Upvot bot that's kind of coming into a next phase. And then number 6, other matters, if there's any other issues anyone like to bring up or we come to think of during the meeting. Can we accept that agenda? Good. No, if no objections, we'll go ahead with that. A brief info on the different working groups, because to actually see, that happens a lot in the working groups, but that's why also the Telegram groups in Eden Community, topic groups, are very important if you're interested in more detail. Have to go in there, watch the whole meeting, or look through comments and the like, and then you get the details. That's why we want to keep short, intense meetings here, latest updates. So anyway, we had a strategy workshop session, number 2, and it was very productive. It went through quite well and actually come to the area of a phase of a 3rd session where we as CDs, me and Mo, will kind of putting it together in a bit of a format and a bit of a document and see how that plays out in the next session and see if we can maybe conclude things already next session. Otherwise, might be a 4th session. We'll see how that develops. And that next meeting is coming up on Friday, tomorrow already. So we are pushing the envelope quite a bit. And yeah, like I said, details can be seen very well in the recordings on Eden Community. Mo, you want to add anything on the strategy workshop itself?
Just to tell everyone to please try to join in and make your comments, watch the videos. We went on for about 2 good hours, I believe, last time. So a lively debate and conversation. And we look forward to hearing from you guys.
True enough. And any question or remarks from the participants here, or we move on?
All clear.
Oh, all clear. Okay, good. I go to 2B, bylaws working group. And we've been discussing, we actually, at this stage, we've been running through the current bylaw all the way down to the dispute resolution. And we actually have pinpointed a few areas which we might need to look at, maybe tweak and similar. And now we're getting into the dispute resolution, how it's worded in the bylaw currently on Sunday. And with that, we actually have gone through and identified trouble area, what we see, ambiguities, or what it might be in the current bylaws. And then we have still left to glance through the code of conduct part, and also the proposals from term 4 to term 5, which were never ratified. And then we tweak together. And by that time, when we have that done, we should also have the strategy workshops conclusions and with the CDs inputs and whatever, and be able to shape up properly the bylaw proposal, which we hopefully have out a week, maybe even 2 weeks before the deadline to upload it. That's our aim. Always aim for the sky. You might reach the treetops. You might not be as good as all the way up, but you get in good time. That's what I normally try to work with. That was a little bit on the bylaws. Mo, your turn.
What I would add to that is to say, for all of the delegates that made promises relative to contributing to the bylaws, it would be a good idea for you guys to participate in that group and contribute as best as possible. That's your opportunity right here to be part of that discussion and to fulfill that promise. Otherwise, moving ahead, we can discuss other ways of fulfilling that promise.
2C is the working group for comms and media. And the good news is we have a lead appointed who was in charge of yesterday's meeting. And that is not a new name. Everyone, I believe, most of us in the Eden membership knows Michael O'Sullivan of Bywire. So he is the lead, appointed lead for comms and media. And he started off yesterday in that meeting, and I believe the participants, 8 or 9 of them or what it was, within the area of particularly media and also comms, they were, we had a very good feeling overall, and he kind of had fifth gear right in Michael, carrying forward with what we've been discussing and targeting to have done as early as possible. So Michael O'Sullivan of Bywire is the lead. That's our first lead appointed, and looking good so far. I should possibly have mentioned that in bylaws working group, we have approached someone if he or she might consider take the position as a lead, but that's something we await and see what happens. And even if we appoint leads, me and Mo possibly will be sitting in on most of these meetings as a bit of a passive, but also as a quick reference if there's something, we should check with CDs or something. We are around. Plus, we can keep an eye on developments, how it works, our system, what we're hoping for. Mo, your turn.
So not only that, but to also monitor how progress is moving and seeing what needs to be changed, and if we need to change our strategy on how we're approaching the issue of the circles and how they're functioning. So
I go on to 2D, working group tech/dev. That's going to be set up, and the whole idea is, of course, we are based on our EdenOS today on the net. And we also have the Upvot bot by Luca and his team. So we have a few things that are, of course, the foundation for Eden. And in general, we have different groups. We have Edenia, we have Luca and his team. We have individuals that are doing stuff. We want to put some of these guys together for 2 reasons. To actually share their own experiences and possibly make it even faster and better what we're doing. And secondly, sometimes CDs, like for instance, this particular term, they are not developers, unfortunately. We don't have developers in our midst of only 2 people. So therefore, a group like this and sitting in on the same is very beneficial to CDs of that kind in general also, even if there might be 4 or 5 CDs. So because sometimes proposals are made that are code related, and if you don't have the skills and the knowledge and the experience, it could be quite tricky and take time to actually investigate and try to form a solid and sound opinion about its effects. You want to comment anything further on that one, Mo?
Nothing more other than to say we hope that all of the devs in the Eden space and the EdenOnEOS space join that tech circle and get some funding, come up with some great ideas, proposals, and we look forward to hearing what happens from coming out of there.
Yeah, no worries, Lenny. I think my view of last call is that there's a majority alignment in the ideas from the group, but sometimes there's still confusions or conflicts. I think, to me, it's going in a very positive direction. I think there's generally consensus there that we're agreeing what the problem is in the solution space. I don't know if you want to get into particulars and look at the document, probably not for this session. So
not for this. You're judging it right.
Yeah, I just think it's going in the right direction. That we've opened it up. We've got key contributors there. We've got good opinions. Lots of people adding insight and ideas, which is exactly what we wanted. And it's taking shape, right? I think you guys can probably speak to that, Mo and Lenny. Like, I feel like it's taking shape, and it gives you guys a kind of a handle on where to push the group further, so that we're getting more detailed, more consensus, more strategic, etc., etc. So that's my quick reflections.
Much appreciated, because you're a neutral leader, so to say. We might have colored opinions and see in a positive light everything. So it's good to hear from you, and I agree. We're doing in a good direction, definitely, and that's why me and Mo have a bit of work before next meeting to align a little bit our thoughts with the current mode and discussions and all these things. So I think we go to item 3, and it says working group remuneration start apply coming week. It has been discussed over a week or two how we are thinking, me and Mo, on this respect. And some people are doing plenty hours in meetings and working groups and work behind the scene, not so much in the Telegram, unfortunately, but I was hoping that could be a little bit momentum on work there. And but some are giving even a good lot of time in those things to kind of save time, because the meetings are not always just 1 hour meetings are not effective to actually come to conclusions, and that's better in text partly, and then you can air them in the meeting. But I will go to number 3. And I give to Mo to go through that one, remuneration.
So here, the other part of getting people to be part of these meetings and incentivizing them to be part of the working groups, as I'm sure that all of you will agree, would be remuneration, will be funding. So what we're thinking, we have 6 weeks left of the term. We have 5 working groups that we're aiming to have functioning by the end of this of these 6 weeks. And we're thinking about 250 EOS per week per working group would be some good seed funding to get this initiative moving. That would be equal to about 7,500 EOS in total for 6 weeks. If the way that we're viewing it, we would do a 60-40 split is what we're proposing, where Lenny and I will take care of 60% of that funding. Now, the other 40%, we would like to propose to Sebastian specifically to fund it by himself, given that he's hasn't spent any yet. No, to the delegates. So we'd like the delegates to chip in on that end and come up with a 40%. That would be 300 EOS each, and that includes Lenny and I again. So from our end, we would be putting in 1,800 each. So I don't know how you guys see that. That's the proposal. We're going to create an account and open it up for everyone that's a delegate to donate their 300 EOS. And that's all it would take to get this started. Then I would also like Brian, myself, Lenny, to reach out to the delegates that voted for us and communicate to them what we agreed to in this meeting, and have all of the delegates on the same page, because it takes all of the delegates to be willing to do that together to make this succeed. If any of the delegates have any opinions on the matter, I'd like to hear from them first.
Floor is open if anyone wish to add words before I do. I mainly want to give two small clarifications. Sebastian was earmarked a bit because he made a joke before we started recording, but where is he going to spend his money? They haven't done anything yet with the funding. So Sebastian, thank you. We said we're going to chase him up, but definitely. And also Brian is mentioned kind of together with us too, because we are talking quite a bit with him in different things, because he was destined to become a chief delegate, but as most of us know who were in the election, there were some technical issues, it seems, that stopped it or made it an issue. But code is code, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but code is code. So we are trying to honor what was mentioned at the time by us, but of course we'll listen to him also and really have him in the loop when we are deciding things. Anything further to be added to this? I just want to express before I open the floor final time on the remuneration, but I hope delegates have a look at it and dig deep. I know Pomelo is coming up here now in a couple of weeks, can be made donors. I myself normally donate a bit on that regularly and go through and vet projects and similarly. And it's been an avenue to actually make something good with funds. And if you do not have another option, this time around, I mean, we should still, of course, look through Pomelo and donate and as we're used to, but also keep in mind, we are here to hopefully further EdenOnEOS and make it what we all were hoping it's supposed to be. And these working groups, I feel, and I'm sure Mo and a few more feel, this is the beginning of actually making a shift and getting things more synchronized, more productive. And that's what we are aiming with this. But of course, people who then assist, they need to put in hours and other things. And you come so far with volunteerism, but if it's, a little bit funding, it helps. Yes, Mo?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to your point, and also to bring it back to what I was mentioning at the start of the meeting, for all of the people that haven't been able to be present at the working groups that they promised what they'd contribute their time to. This is another valid way, I think, for you to contribute and fulfill those promises, whether it be bylaws, communications, code of conduct, or anything else that you might have promised to donate your time or your efforts to trying to push forward and progress on. It doesn't necessarily have to be 300 EOS. It could be more. If you feel like you're just not going to be at those meetings and you're not going to be able to give from your time, well, we'd be happy to just consider that promise fulfilled in that manner, and you could simply justify it in that way come next elections or come whatever questions are asked of you in the future. Brian?
Hi, I just wanted to say that Lenny and Mo have both been very receptive of my ideas. We've been participating in calls regarding like bylaws and accounting and accountability for the chain. And it's been a very good experience working with them. I do have one small concern regarding the funding for the working groups. What's the plan if not all the delegates want to provide the funding?
I personally wanted to get to that step later after hearing from all of the delegates first. But let's just say that Lenny and I are prepared to step up if necessary to make sure that that funding happens.
We appreciate it.
But it will be remembered if that's needed. Let's put it that way.
Yes. We definitely will be taking names.
Yeah, no, not in a bad way, but if it is productive use, some people might have committed already all their funding and similar. I mean, that's understandable as long as you've got a relevant reason and stuff.
Our priority is just to get these working groups functioning because we feel like it's a foundational part of where we see EdenOnEOS going into the future. And because we see so much importance in these groups, we want to get people funding them at least to get them going before the next election so that the next set of chief delegates can see the benefits of having this structure already in place and maybe facilitate future funding coming directly from the Treasury instead, and having that also be approved and moving forward.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions from the floor?
Do working groups, is the intention that they would be like making decisions unilaterally within the group, or is there a voting process to approve their project ideas?
The idea is for the working groups to initially be taking their cues from the chief delegates and the delegates in general from the community, depending on what we value. But just to keep the structure in place, having the chief delegates communicate the needs of the community to the working groups, having the working groups working towards those specified goals, and having them work in fractals so as to, or using the Eden fractal process, so as to evaluate each other on how objectively they are accomplishing those goals. And in that way, pay each other accordingly.
And what's the essence of how people are being appointed? Like how many, I haven't paid attention, sorry. How many working groups are there? How many people, like what's the size of the working groups?
We haven't had, it's difficult to say or to claim that we have had consistent attendance in the working groups from the members that have been showing up. Depending on the day, we've had different people showing up to different working groups, but we've had a solid, I would say, roughly 4 to 5 people at a minimum at the smallest working group, which has been the bylaws. The communications working group is fairly stronger, where we have had, I would say, at a minimum maybe 5 to 6 people, and at a maximum maybe I would say maybe 9. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lenny.
No, I just to jump in right away on comms there, definitely. And these are people mainly within the areas, really, not just out of interest. They are really involved in these areas. So they're quality people for that working group, let's put it that way. Although anyone who puts in time is welcome. Come. Over.
And we also have the tech working group, which we'd like to start off next week, the coming week, and the admin and elections working group. So that's solid 4. We also have the reputation working group, which I don't know if we'll be taking funding or not, depending on how that goes. At this point, we've been working for free up until now for the last maybe 9 months. So there isn't a specific need for that, and if anything, it'll probably be incorporated into a different working group in the future, maybe the tech working group or so. So roughly, I believe there's a 5th working group that I might be forgetting. Lenny, if
are you thinking about actually Gavriel's one, strategy workshops? That's the one that's not mentioned, but it's one of them.
That's a working group, although since it's going to be ending in the next couple of sessions, not something that's going to be ongoing. Our view is to have 5 ongoing working groups. Might be for
you covered them otherwise, and if nothing else, it's easy to check in the community Telegram as usual.
The point being is that what we need is to have that funding there and start incentivizing people to show up to these working groups.
On item 4, the RFP that we title EdenOnEOS distribution summary underway is the next agenda item. And I'll give it to Mo again to give us a bit of an update.
Yeah, I wanted to look up the actual working groups that we have planned, though, and real quick if you want to fill in a little bit of time.
Okay, no, fair enough.
Just to give the working groups. Okay, so the comms and media, ideally, we'd like also to have a finance working group going on, which would probably be added to the administrative, a tech working group, and then depending on the direction of Eden in the future, we might have another working group that I'm not able to mention at the moment.
Fair enough. So anyway, any queries which don't get into this here can always happen in the Telegram group, if not in the chat here. So keep that in mind, everyone. Telegram is a good place. It kind of sticks there. You don't have to open the video player to check what was said or similar. Okay, then maybe 4. EdenOnEOS distribution summary underway. Mo.
Yes, we've contacted a couple of members to also help us out with that. Brian is part of that team, where he will be directing the RFP. And Daniel Singh is also involved, doing a lot of the work on that issue as well. So between the two of them, hopefully we can get that moving and bring it to a conclusion in the coming weeks.
And that is, as for those who have not maybe seen earlier meetings and so, is to see the pros and cons with the financing that's been distributed among delegates. Maybe you should elaborate a minute or two on that, Mo.
Yeah, the idea is to get this this proposal, which is directed at analyzing and summarizing the distribution of the funding that's happened over the past 2 years, and having it be delivered in a concise manner where we can see what has been funded by Eden and where the funding has gone, what the delegates in the past and the chief delegates have decided to fund, and how well they have accomplished their goals, and analyze where the issues have arisen and where they haven't been able to accomplish their goals. And in that way, maybe be able to make better decisions in the future regarding how we fund and what we fund and who we choose and elect. So that's the goal with that. And at this point, we're simply supervising the ongoing work being done by Brian and Daniel. And I think we've chosen two very capable people of being able to put the summary together and help out the community in seeing what value has been provided by all of the treasury that has been spent by the Eden community.
Which in turn become a tool a bit when we go to future possible funders of EdenOnEOS when we're presenting our strategy forward, together with accomplishments already made. And if they're interested, where did we fail? And then we have some summary there, not just, oh, not sure, I have to check the records. No, we need to know that. I mean, we have to have a business-like approach. And you have to learn from mistakes as well as from successes. That's part of any sound business arrangement going forward.
Covered all of the main issues. I still would like some more feedback in terms of agreement or disagreement with the issue of the proposal to the delegates for funding. So if there are any questions there as well, I'm happy to take any questions.
And the floor is open because now you had a few minutes to mill that in your mind. And similarly, any spontaneous comments on that idea with that delegate input? I think it was 300 we're talking about, 300 EOS per delegate. Any thoughts from any current delegates here?
I believe what we're asking for is maybe 30% of one of your distributions. So.
Yeah, sadly, my phone just died the moment you started talking about it.
Fair enough.
So, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
Comments can always be made, as I said.
I was asking for 300 EOS from each delegate to fund the working groups that and the circles that we're planning to establish. There should be 5 of them with 300 EOS from each delegate. It would cover 60% of the costs. The other 50%, Lenny and I will be taking care of. And yeah, in conjunction, we will be able to fund 250 EOS per working group for the next 6 weeks.
Okay, so the time frame is 6 weeks. 6 weeks, 300 EOS.
No, it'd be 300 EOS period from the delegates.
Okay.
So yeah,
sounds good to me. I like it.
Just a request. Yeah, a request or suggestion would be to compile a document that outlines the work of the working groups. I think personally, I would feel a lot more comfortable just giving money if I knew what it's supposed to go to exactly. Alternatively, it might be that the working groups specified the types of work they want to do, and then the delegates could allocate a portion of those 300 EOS to the different working groups. That might start to get a bit too complicated, but it means that we're kind of being selective about which projects we want to fund, and therefore the project creators themselves kind of have to compete a bit with who gets the attention and the money. Maybe that just gamifies things a bit. Maybe it's too complicated, but at least some list of the kind of projects and objectives and deliverables that are expected for those working groups, I think would help a lot to just make it comfortable to hand over that money.
That's definitely a valid idea, and my view going into the future. At this point, as you said, it might be a little bit too complicated to be doing. We were just thinking of distributing it equally amongst all of the working groups, just to keep it, have the incentive for people to join them without having to start deciding what working group they want to contribute to, or competing amongst, rather than having just them get filled up with people interested in working and doing things.
I want to add on a bit on that and qualify why that is so. We've been working with working groups now for, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And actually, Mo and me, more or less, have been the leads of the working groups. But we're not supposed to tell them what to do. So we've been kind of waiting, and that's what we now are in the process of trying to put in place. I mean, we mentioned Michael O'Sullivan accepted and led yesterday's comms meeting, which was very good. And as a lead there, we have had 2 priorities as CDs that we have conveyed and stressed. He will do them with the group, but he have a different priority a little bit than us. But hey, that's life. It's with a working group. They have to decide. We don't want to, so to say, make statements, this is what they are doing. We have certain priorities. As long as they are covered, then they might expand. So, but definitely, I totally agree with you, Gabriel. You should know what the money goes for, so to say.
And my views are that in the future, ideally, the chief delegates will be deciding what the priorities are and allocating that funding differently per working group, depending on what they feel needs to get done in EdenOnEOS, internally or externally. So I think that, yeah, you're very on point with your views on that. I just don't know if right now is the time to implement it or not. If you guys feel that you need more information regarding the working groups, I'm definitely for trying to compile more information in maybe a note fashion rather than video, because I understand that not everyone has the time to watch all of the meetings and gather all of that information. But if we can maybe have a secretary in those meetings where they are the ones responsible for taking the minutes and publishing them after each meeting, that would be helpful in getting people more confident and comfortable with these allocations, I guess. But at this point, I think I would just like to add that, yeah, from my view, I'm just asking for the 300 EOS flat out, and hopefully everyone that's a delegate will also understand that from one end, it's a way to support the initiative and the movement forward. From another end, if they haven't been participating in all the meetings and being as active as maybe they should have been, this is another way to compensate for that, whether it be through the 300 EOS or even if they want to give more than that to support this initiative even further.
I go to item number 5, Upvot bot update. That was complicated, but yes, because yesterday, I mean, Luca and the team has been working on the bot, and it's been a bit silent in Telegram also on progress and so. And yesterday was a major decision by them that, okay, now we're going to move it into testing it on super groups. And they do that and request us to do so through our Eden community Telegram. And they've been doing it earlier on the former Eden member group, a private group, but now they're doing it in our Eden community group. And so we opened up, or I opened up, who have a key, the permissions on some criterias and whatever. So I'm still in control and can do any problems, easily pull back permissions. But that's not going to happen. We all know Luca and his team are pretty good at what they're doing. But it allows them to actually test it full scale, the different options. And this happened just yesterday. And me and Mo are going to look at it and discuss a bit further with Luca and so. The framework for those tests is similar, so it shouldn't affect any of our members at all. And there's a bit of discussion there, but that's part also of this tech and dev group, that we actually can sit together and discuss the different options. it's nothing sensitive, but if it's really going to be if that bot is going to be more or less in control of our elections instead of our EdenOS or in conjunction with it to a higher degree, the bot, we gotta make sure that it's tested thoroughly beforehand. So it worked very well, actually. At least that's my experience last time around. And the EdenOS software, unfortunately, we had some issues, and we believe we are aware why that was. So some backup options even to that one is in the pipeline to have in case we are relying on the current software for elections. So we're trying to look at all different avenues and to make sure we get as smooth as possible and hopefully really smooth election, because it's been some issues the last 2 elections. Mo, so anyway, we just want to update that is going on. So if anyone hears something, whatever, they are aware. Mo, you can add on if you like.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that this is or these are a couple of good reasons why we need a tech circle to have all of the devs in the EdenOnEOS space working together, coming up with ideas together, and have the chief delegates or allow the chief delegates to have an advisory board on these kind of issues that we can also consult with, whether or not there are devs among the chief delegates. From another end, in reference to the elections, that's the other circle that we're planning on getting moving, the elections and admin circle. So that's a place that we'll have all these kind of discussions relative to how the elections should function, who's going to be leading the elections, and so on and so forth relative to that. Yeah.
And on that admin and election circle or working group we're looking at, it's also a matter of kind of continue what actually Jon, who is here, started doing. Documentation, easy to grasp, easy to find the information, so that the week or weeks before next election, we can really feed the membership. This is the way, and it's an easy avenue to actually refresh. It's 3 months between elections. I mean, most of us kind of stumble a little bit if we didn't get pushed to actually read up on it again. And Jon's work so far is excellent. I've gone through it a few times previously and lately, and there is work to done. So that will be the working group there to educate and refresh the membership in how the process works and what to be done, and if any issues, what are the remedies, etc., etc. So yes, it's one of my kind of promises was to make sure it's going to be a smooth election. Otherwise, I fail. That's a tricky one to say, but hey, you got to aim it for the sky, like I said.
What
okay.
What I would like to add to that is also, given that we've announced the coming 2 circles, the tech and the admin election circles, please feel free to spread the word and get more people involved in these circles, because many times it's the same people that are showing up at all of the other circles. So we need more of the community being involved and contributing to these. So yeah.
I want to make it a little bit sweeter what you said, Mo. I would say there's 2-3 people showing up in all the circles, plus me and Mo. But we have another set of people also in each of those groups, and comms media particularly. Yes. So it's not as bad as it sounded what Mo said. Sorry.
I'd like more people. I'd like more people. I'd like more faces.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe about the getting more people involved. Have you given some thought about how to do it? Like just promoting Eden in general, or maybe even maybe just setting up a new organization even for that? Because if we change like the mechanism from the, let's say, EdenOS website to the Telegram bot, we might as well also change like the entire setup, because I don't think people come to EdenOnEOS because of More Equal Animals anymore.
I give you Mo. Oh, sorry. I give Mo the way. We got 5 minutes.
You're not wrong. I think that's part of the strategy discussion where we are trying to identify the objective of EdenOnEOS specifically. I think the people are coming to Eden for More Equal Animals, the organization, the governance side of it. I think there needs to be a better separation between the two,
Mhm.
and allow people that want to explore the governance to be involved in that, and allow the people that want to be involved in contributing to the EOS community, and that are in EdenOnEOS for the EOS community to be involved in that.
Okay, cool. Makes sense. Thanks.
And just to add to that, the primary focus, me and Mo, is not really to the media bit, the comms bit, the information bit, so to say, to the membership as a whole. It's to get these groups together so that there are delegated work and decision making, halfway or 75%, whatever, for CDs to review and look at it. That is a priority, and that's we both believe, me and Mo, hasn't happened the last 2 years. We got to make sure it will carry through term to term to term, and that's been focused. So I think in a few weeks from now, you will start to see how are we going to do this and how we're going to media and all these things. It's starting to come together now.
Okay, cool. Excellent answer.
I think the elections circle is going to be very interesting as well coming up, just because we're getting closer to election time. So that's something that that circle really is going to have to get focused on and start testing and making sure that, as Lenny was saying, the elections will run smoothly and how they'll be run.
Good now.
Yeah, so nice meeting as always, very well structured as always. Nice questions by Sebastian, yeah,
Thanks.
about molecule animal and all that, yeah. Yeah, sure, there is a turning point, I think. We want to do the things maybe more effective, and molecule animal is always something interesting, but we are turning a little bit in a modus startup, doing the things straight to the point and maybe becoming a platform. We will see. That's just my sentiment on the last strategy workshop. We are turning a little bit into the way to do a platform and to have the things very well straight to the point. So that's what I love, by the way. And yeah, but everyone has his opinion on molecule animal. Yeah, voila. So I think it's the time to say goodbye.
Exactly. We got 1
And
minute left.
I raise my hand.
So do I.
And I do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, 0. Go
EdenOnEOS! Thank you, everyone. And we'll meet next Thursday again at the weekly meeting.
Thank you all.
Thanks all for joining.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.